So imagine having such a jealous sister that she's so petty, she needs revenge on me for simply living my life. Guys, here's the wildest story in a while when it comes to cheating. I got accused of me cheating, and then my sister brings my ex-boyfriend over to my house and claims that my baby in my belly is his, and my husband believes him. I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it, and I'm going to prove my sister did this. In the last 24 hours, my life has taken such a crazy turn that looking back, I find it hard to believe this happened. Last night was my baby shower, and I was surrounded by mostly everyone who loved me and cared about me. But then something happened that ruined everything to a point where now even my marriage is on the verge of collapse. And even though she was not involved directly, I'm pretty sure the person behind this was my own sister. Let me explain. My name's Drew, 34 female. I was happily married and still am very pregnant. I'm due to actually give birth in just a few months, and yesterday was my baby shower. Before yesterday, I was very happy and grateful for everything I had. But I did have a weird feeling in my stomach from time to time, you know? Seeing, the thing is, for the past several months, luck had been favoring me a bit too much. It all started with me finally getting pregnant after years of trying and almost giving up. After that, everything changed. My parents, who barely gave me much attention, became the most loving and caring people in my life, and could not get enough of me ever. See, I even got the promotion I've been trying to get for years, which many of my coworkers had asked me to let go. They fully believed that I was never going to get it, and it was just by some miracle, and not only because of my hard work, so luck was definitely involved. Things were going way too great. See, I'm a glass half full type of girl, but when the glass keeps filling, I can't help but think it's going to crack. So I kept telling myself that something bad might happen, and I was really scared for the child inside me. By the way, the child's healthy and safe. I just wanted to add this because I'm not using the safety of my unborn child as suspense or anything like that. So, where was I? Yes, things were going too well. Then a few months ago, I get a text from a childhood friend of mine that really surprised me. I thought that she had gone out of the country and was not going to return back to our city. I was really excited to see her and agreed to meet her the next day. But it turned out to be someone else pretending to be my friend. But before I tell you about the idiot who tracked me into helping him just to ruin my life, let me tell you about the person that was probably behind it. So I'm talking about my sister Clara. She's 2 years younger than me and has been the favorite of my parent for the longest time. She was loved way too much as a kid, and that led to her growing up and becoming a terrible person. I'm not saying our parents wanted her to become like that. I would like to believe that they tried their best to make her like them. Kind, caring, loving people who want nothing more than to be happy. But she turned out to be something else entirely. She was not so bad as a kid. She was actually really cute. But by the time she became a teenager, she had fully understood that, unlike others, she did not suffer consequences for her actions. I believe this led to her doing more and more bad stuff. And when she got no punishment or even a lecture for it like I did, she became a really bad person. Our parents gave me everything I needed in life except a bit of attention. I mean, I got that they loved Clara a lot, but I wanted them to care about me too, or at least show me that they cared about me. But they didn't have much time left for me, because all their attention was focused on Clara and she loved it. She knew that they would always trust her more than me, so she used it constantly. If she ever got in trouble, she would blame me to get out of it. She would take my stuff constantly, and I couldn't even complain because when I did, I was called a bad sister and selfish. But she never let me even touch any of her stuff. If I kept talking about my childhood experience, then this is going to become a really boring, sad novel. So, all I want you guys is to remember from this that my sister is a jerk of a person, and she really dislikes me. Because of the cruel, borderline evil person that she ended up becoming, naturally we did not grow much closer. The funny thing is, I have every reason to hate her, but I don't. Yes, we don't have much of a sisterly relationship, but knowing how I was treated by her, did anyone expect me to have her with her? Again, I don't really hate her. I don't like her, and I don't even think of her as a real sister, but hey, I don't really hate her. When I went home, I avoided her, and yes, I almost did not invite her to my wedding, but I changed my mind in the end. It wasn't what you do at the end that matters, right? But she was never happy with me, especially these past few years because of how the parents have treated me. So after being looked over by my parents, things changed a bit when I got a really good job and got married, especially when I got pregnant. See, my sister and I have lived quite the opposite lives. She didn't finish college and had only hookups in the name of a relationship and barely works and lives with our parents. But I have done well in life, as humbly as I can say. So for the past few years, our parents have been growing warmer and warmer towards me. And this probably made her feel more jealous towards me than she already was. She never hid the fact that she was jealous of me, that's apparent, but these last few years she's slowly gotten worse. This jealousy has gotten way worse since the day I got pregnant. And as I already mentioned, my parents started giving me way too much attention. Turns out they always wanted a grandchild, and for now I was their only hope. And I guess it got to her, but I had never thought that she would do something like this. Now let me jump back to where I was. So the next day, when I went to meet the childhood friend, it turned out to be my ex-boyfriend Mark, who I was with before Ben. He had pretended to be my friend so that I would agree to see him. But the thing was, he didn't know about her, and there was no way that he could find out about her without anyone from my family helping. But I didn't think much about it then. I saw him and asked him to explain what was going on before I slapped him and left him there. He told me that he was in no need for my help, and there was nobody else that he could turn to. Now, Mark is not really a good guy, so I was not willing to waste my time and trust him. I told him whatever problem he had, I wished it grew bigger because I could not give a darn about it. I was angry because he tried to trick me, but before I could leave, he pulled out the big guns. He said that this was for his sister, and I had to stop. His sister Daisy is someone who I used to be very close with, and I cared about her a lot. I used to help her study, and she was kind of like my own sister. I couldn't really say no to helping her. He said that she was in her final year of college but was planning on quitting before finishing because she wanted, to do something else. He told me that he tried everything and everyone and now was only left with the option of me trying to convince her. I told him I could not guarantee I could, but hey, I'd try. So the next day, he came to see me with her. We had a long talk and we reminisced about the old times. She was very happy to see me and was even mad that I did not contact her after leaving her brother. Apparently, she got really mad at him for losing me. I then tried my best to convince her to wait until she finished college to pursue what she wanted, as she didn't have much time left. To my surprise, she got everything I told her and said that she was going to graduate before doing anything and thanked me for giving her good advice. Mark couldn't believe that. I was so happy that as soon as she left, he hugged me. I was about to push him and get angry, but I understood that it was more of an emotional reaction as he was relieved. So I gently pulled him off and apologized, is what he did. I let it go and he thanked me and I came back home. Now let's immediately jump to yesterday when everybody was having a good old time at the baby shower. And out of nowhere, Mark came in like a missile and bombed the whole event. He claimed that the baby I was carrying was his. I was livid, and if I had a big knife and had the energy and athleticism of a person who could jump and do something with it, I would have done it. And at that point, I did not care at all about the consequences, guys. I would have chosen to give birth to a jail baby than get humiliated like that in front of everyone. So, you tell me, how dare this idiot, after I helped him, even though I had no obligation to crash my baby shower and claim that my child was his? I was fuming. But I was not really scared at all because I knew nobody would believe the dude. But I was wrong. Because as soon as he showed them photos, the same 2 days I helped him, everyone started turning against me. Yes, the photo of us hugging, it looked really, really bad. Especially because everyone knew I disliked Mark and would never even get close to him. But I had no doubt that I could explain to everyone the truth. I start trying to explain, believing my husband out of everybody would listen and believe me, but he was the one who asked me to stop being a liar. He fully believed Mark and his $10 an hour acting, and so did the rest of my family. Well, Mark claimed that he had tried to give up on the baby like I had asked him to, but could not and wanted to be in its life. This made me mad beyond belief. I tried to slap him, but mother-in-law stopped me. Then the guests started to leave, and Mark left too because his work was done. And everybody got mad at me. Everyone except my sister could barely contain her happiness, and my own husband refused to believe me. And for the whole day today, he's been asking me to come clean before he leaves me. Nobody's talking to me or willing to hear me out unless I say that Mark was telling the truth. What should I do? How do I convince them? Is a DNA test my only option? Updates. Number 1, it's almost been 2 weeks. And things have gone from really bad to, well, I'm in hell. But before that, let me focus on one positive. Well, here it is. Or at least a few of you who believes me, thank you. I need advice on how I should handle this. I read all your comments and the support, it's helping. Now let me tell you what went down. Firstly, there's a thing I didn't mention because I thought that I had made it crystal clear, but let me do it anywho. So I obviously had not told my husband that I had met Mark and helped him with something. If I had, none of this would have happened, and I would not have the headache that I have now. The reason I didn't tell him was because he doesn't like Mark, as he knows our relationship ended and he would get pretty mad if I had told him I helped him. But now everything I say sounds like a lie to him, especially after what happened yesterday. After my update, I kept trying to convince him and we finally agreed to hear my side out. I told him everything that happened, but he kept saying how much I was going to lie. He was for some reason convinced that I cheated on him. I guess it also did not help that I randomly got pregnant after trying for so long. But, that's how pregnancy works, man. It's not going to announce that it's about to happen, it just happens. Well, also, a lot of you guys asked me to not get mad at my husband because he was just reacting like anyone in this position would. Honestly, I get it. I see how it looks, but I'm 100% sure that I would trust my own husband instead of some woman if anybody like that ever tried to come to my home and frame him. At the least, I would give him the benefit of the doubt while I looked into the matter. Photos are not really proof anymore, and I could have easily just claimed they were fake. But I immediately explained when they were taken and what I was doing. But I guess I looked guilty or something. Many of you know my full side were claiming that I cheated, so I guess I should not blame him and my family too much. But I expected my husband to trust me and he doesn't. It hurts, and it gets even worse. Also, I called my sister a few days ago and asked her if she was behind all this. She did not say that she was and just laughed and said that she didn't understand what I was talking about. She may play dumb, but I know that she did all this for sure. So after that, I was left with no choice but to do the obvious thing and prove it with a DNA test. Now, the reason I didn't immediately jump to doing the test was that the doctor who I regularly see was out for a few days. I knew I couldn't trust anyone else. I know how my sister thinks, and I know that she stays 3 steps ahead, so I was thinking ahead too. But it turns out that I was way too behind on everything. As soon as the doctor came back, I immediately told my husband, Ben, that I was ready to prove to him whose child this was. Well, we went to our regular doctor and got the test done. Then yesterday, we got the result of the paternity test. The whole family was going to know the truth. Ben read the result and did not give a reaction I hoped he would. He was angry, and then I found out the results came out negative, meaning it said that he was not the father of the child. Which is again absurd because he's the only person I slept with, come on. At that point, I was sure that it was my sister, and then I played right into her hand, and after that, there wasn't much explaining that I could do. I kept trying to tell him that I was being framed, and that we should do another test, but he said that he was done with the testing. The whole family was angry, really, because they had just gotten confirmation that Mark was right. My own parents said that they did not want to speak to me anymore, that I had humiliated them, and after that, Ben packed up everything and left. I tried to stop him and beg that I was telling the truth, but he didn't listen, and this time I completely understood. I think the only person happy in all this is Clara, but don't worry, she won't stay happy for very long. I'll make sure of that. Update number 2. Hey guys, it's me. I'm sorry it took so long for the update, but don't worry, I'm back and here it is. It's been a few weeks, and now that I have everything, I can let you all know what I've been doing. No, my husband has not come home yet, as he still believes I'm a cheater, but I'm sure that he's going to change his mind really soon. Let me tell you why. So since today I wrote my first post, I was sure that even though my ex was involved, my sister was pulling one string or the other. I think I made it crystal clear in my first post that I fully believe she was behind everything. I was so confident that the next day I paid a private investigator just to find out more about it by following her. To the many people who were telling me that I was wrong in doubting her, well, I'm sorry you trusted her. Obviously she was behind this because Mark, my ex, had no reason to just jump into my life and try to ruin it like this. There had to be somebody who wanted this to happen to me, and there was nobody else except my sister Clara who matched that description. The PI soon gave me pictures of her meeting Mark, and I assumed that she had paid him to do this to me. Also, she paid the doctor to rig the testing, but let me come to that in a bit. What I could not figure out was why Daisy, my ex's sister, had betrayed me like this, because there was no way that she would knowingly do this. Honestly, guys, the logic of all of it told me that she had to be involved because she definitely lied to me, but my heart refused to believe that she would do something like this. So I asked around and tried to find a way to contact her. I could not let Mark find out that I was trying to talk to her because that would ruin everything. I managed to get a hold of her, contact, and asked her to meet me without telling her brother. She didn't understand why I was asking her to do this, but agreed. Well, we met, and I asked her to tell me the truth about what happened and why she lied. At first, she seemed uncomfortable. It didn't seem like she wanted to tell me the truth. So I told her what her brother and my sister did to me, and she was shocked. It was clear that she had no idea what she had done, and was very sad that I had gotten hurt because of her. I explained to her that they would have done something either way, but having her on my side was going to be a big help. She then explained to me that her brother and sister had told her that I was going through a rough patch and needed a win. So they had planned everything to look like she wanted to leave college, but I stopped her. This way I would feel better about myself, and so she agreed to do it. That's why she acted, and this led to them getting the pictures they wanted the most. I told her that I wasn't going to blame her, but she had to help me. She agreed and promised to pay her brother back for what he made her do. She then helped me get screenshots of chats between Mark and Clara, and that gave me enough evidence and proof. And yes, Mark was paid by Clara to do this to me, and even to lie to his own sister. She couldn't believe it. At this point, I already had more than enough evidence, but then I found out that Clara was the person who bribed my doctor to change the results. So I spoke to the doctor and also got the recording of his confession, where he clearly said that my sister was the main mind behind all this. Can you believe that this witch tried to ruin my life like this? I'm still livid when I think about it. So now, I have the evidence, and I've called most of our family members tomorrow to the main home to show them the truth. Final update. It's been a few months. Let me start with the best news first. A few weeks ago, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Also, this will be my last update as things have quite wrapped up neatly. Let me tell you what ended up happening, yeah? So the next day after my last update, the whole family gathered to see what I really wanted. Ben was refusing to come, and I had to force him to be there by telling him that I was finally ready to tell him the truth. He came in believing he was going to get a confession out of me. Clara also came happy, believing that I was going to give up or try to fail or convince them. Either way would be a good day for her. But she had no idea that she had just walked into my trap that I set up for her. After most people arrived, I started showing all the evidence of Clara trying to frame me. I showed everyone everything I had collected while explaining what had actually happened. Well, this time people listened, and Clara was the only one screaming that all of this was fake. Then our parents asked her to shut the hell up and asked me to continue. Guys, I showed them the entire thing, including the fake paternity test, when the same test was done somewhere else. The results came out positive, of course, and everybody was shocked by what I had just shown them, especially our parents. Mom had tears in her eyes as she looked at Clara and asked her why she did all this. Well, Clara could not answer the question, and my husband and his family were shocked too. Ben didn't know whether to be mad at Clara or apologize to me for all of this. Mom kept asking, and everybody was waiting to hear Clara speak. When Mom, for the last time, screamed at her to explain, Clara said that she was jealous of me and didn't want me to be happier, or the parents to give me more attention. As soon as Mom heard that, she slapped her and told her that she wasn't her daughter anymore. Dad said the same thing, and they apologized to me for everything she did and also for not believing me. After that, everyone apologized to me one by one, while Clara cried. She was then kicked out of even her home and got cut off permanently. And later on, Ben came to apologize to me, but I told him that would not be enough. If he wanted to stay in my and my baby's life, he would have to trust me. He assured me that something like this would never, ever happen again, and said that he would do whatever it takes to get me to forgive him. Obviously, I wasn't that mad at him, but I still kept him in the sorry stage for a little while he was in the doghouse. I forgave everyone except Clara and Mark. Oh, speaking of Mark, Daisy told me that she had moved out and cut contact with him and had told him that she didn't want a brother like him. Good for her, I'd say. Now Clara's homeless and is probably working at some fast food joint, or something to make ends meet. And Mark has lost the thing that was the most precious to him. I think this tells you to not mess with other people and to focus on yourself, guys. Thank you for going through this with me.